Many points against New Zealand in their 44-36 win, their opening group game. Once again, it turns up in the key. Medell's always going to be the outlet for the Canadians. He's a player who has played around the world.
Powerful push.
He's a gun for hire and has played in a number of championships all around the world. Boxed in is Van der Laan. Needs to release the ball as soon as he can. Gives it to Loma. And you can hear the Dutch bench counting down there. And they just about managed to get over the line before the shot clock expired. And Travis Moran is the one who picks up the ball for Canada. Canada, who are here having finished runners-up at the Parapan Games. That was in Santiago in November. It was the qualifying tournament for the Americas. They defeated USA in the group stages, but when it came to the final, they came up short, which means they have to go via this qualifying tournament, and USA already with their Paralympic berth sealed. So first turnover of the match, and it goes the way of the Canadians.
Van der Laan got a little love tap as he was trying to catch that.
Medell looking to find his way through and instead just pops it over the top, and it's Cody Caldwell. And that's the first break of service, if you will. The first point scored from a turnover. So advantage Canada. The Dutch get it over the halfway line within 12 seconds. That's the first imperative. And then they have 40 seconds on the shot clock. Difficult to see the shot clock there from that angle.
Morale crosses the line without the ball. It's the penalty try.
Inbound is from Medell, and he's trying to spring out of the trap that the Dutch have set for him, and he does so. Yes, you can try and put traps on Zach Medell, but easier said than done.
He's faced them constantly his whole career, so he's gotten pretty good at keeping out of them and getting out of them.
Dutch bringing the ball forward. Van den Dop over the top. And that was Ben Bazoun picking that one up.
Couldn't hold the corner there. He needs to get to that sideline, Loma, in order to keep him from getting around the edge.
The sideline and the baseline, those are extra defenders when you're coming up against someone of the caliber of Zach Medell. I guess if you go over either of those lines, then you are out of bounds, and that's a turnover. Van der Laan bouncing the ball. You have to bounce once every 10 seconds. Van den Dop not finding a way past Rodrigue. Over the top. And just about corralled there by Van der Laan.
He did a great job of pulling that down.
You have to be in control of the ball before your wheels go over the line, and that was just about the case. Now 10 seconds to inbound. You can see the referees. We have Izumi Kato of Japan and Kim Yun-ho of Korea. See the referees counting down to tell the players exactly how long they've got. Then we have Peter Haynes of Australia. She's going to start counting the seconds out now, but Hector Loma only needs a couple of seconds before inbounding. And Medel gets a hand in there, a block and a turnover for Canada.
Tried to sneak that pass underneath. But able to force a timeout.
So Canada gets a turnover, but then a timeout called. You can see the scoreboard there. It says Netherlands 6, Canada 7. Then you've got 4-2 and 3-2 now. So two different types of timeouts.
The floor timeout that they're using now, you can use that to get out of a trouble situation. They only last 30 seconds, but the coach's timeout is a minute, and those can only be used in a dead ball.
So Canada now down to 3-2, having taken one of their 30-second timeouts. Medel taking a good run at them. Bazoun blocking him at the moment.
See Whitehead working on the other corner. And now he's stuck in the middle. We have 4 in the key. That's my guess. Yeah, so 4 in the key. You can only have 3 defenders in that white box at any one time. And when a 4th player goes in, he goes and sits on the sideline for either a minute or until the opposing team scores.
And that is the fate of Job van der Laan. There he is, number 8.
Medel's waiting for his defense to get set up. And obviously van der Laan called inbounder so he could get out of that situation. They had him trapped on the sideline. Punch pass. Did not get where it was going.
It was more in hope than expectation, that one.
Netherlands has done a really good job of being patient on their offense up until this last 2 series.
I think they're going to have to be very patient today. They're up against a team that is favourite to win their group, favourite to make it all the way through to the finals. You've got Canada, who are disappointed not to defeat USA at the Parapan Games. That was America's qualifying. And then in the other group you have Australia, who were upset not to have got past Japan at the Oceania-Asia qualifying. Those are the 2 absolute favourites of the tournament, and things coming a little bit unravelled for the Dutch. That's another turnover against them. Medel showing all his trunk function, spinning this way and that. You can see the shot clock ticking down 13 at 12 seconds. He won't be too worried about that, because he knows he can find a way in.
Hirschfield had that corner pretty well, and it gave him an opportunity to get in there between the cone and Trevor Hirschfield's chair. Number 10 for Canada. I thought the key was strong there, though, for the Netherlands. They were doing a good job of keeping Medel out. If they can keep that up, that'll be good for them.
The big matchup for the Netherlands. They're not realistically expecting to trouble the Canadians too much here. Maybe going to keep their powder dry for their 3rd and final group match against Brazil, and the winner of that match will make it through to the semi-finals.
And that's the key here. They got to get to that round. If you don't get in that top bracket, there's no chance for you to earn that ticket to Paris.
That's right, 3 tickets up for grabs. So 3 of the 4 semi-finalists are going to make it through. So that's the 2 finalists, and then the winner of the 3rd and 4th place match.
Although that trip to the Paralympics is a tough bill. You've got to face the U.S., Japan, Great Britain, France, Denmark. No slouches in that group.
Those are the 5 teams that have qualified already, and another 3 berths up for grabs. Great Britain, the defending champions from 3 years ago, but certainly wouldn't be the favourites.
I don't think they were the favorites then either, but
they weren't, were
they
they?
did the job. That they, you know, for a team, you know, you look back at, they not only had they not won a medal before in either a World Championship or a Paralympics, but they'd lost their funding after Brazil because they didn't qualify in the medal rounds. So to come back like that is very impressive. It shows a lot of perseverance and a lot of work by the players and the staff in order to keep the team going and keep it at a high level so that they were able to compete and win.
Great Britain, who qualified at the Euros, that was in March last year. They lost in the final, though, to France, who had already qualified as the host nation, but obviously on home soil. It was in Cardiff. They wanted to get the victory there. Now another turnover against the Dutch, from Van den Dop to Van der Laan, and Van der Laan couldn't quite get that pass into his grasp. And Medel races down the other end. Into the final minute of this opening quarter. Part of a quarter where you start looking at when you want to score. And I think for the Dutch, they're 5 points adrift. The most important thing for them is to just try to get a point on the board.
And keep Canada from getting one on there as well. And even if, you know, as their coach said earlier, that this is more working toward that next game, they need to practice that good habit of working the clock and getting that last try, so that they can do it when it really matters to them. Not that it doesn't matter now. So Mike Whitehead in the penalty box, number 8 for Canada. I did not get to see his offense. Oh. Trevor Hirschfield trying to push a Netherlands player across the line there. Scored, though, first before could get in there, and that's a nice way to finish it off.
Canada deciding not to go for it in the last seconds there, and they lead 13-9 at the first break. back for the second quarter of this group match. Netherlands 9, Canada 13. And the Netherlands have made a few changes there. You can see the number 1, Scott van Polen, who has come on. Davy van den Dop still there, as is Job van der Laan. And Canada with a different lineup as well.
Yeah, Kovac, number 1, is in, and Pico Dagenet, number 12.
Kovac, the unmistakable one there with the glasses, just looking to, well, shepherd that loose ball. 2.5 pointer. So this could very much be the Dutch resting some of their best players. Ruben van der Laar has gone out there as well, number 4 mid-pointer. He's the one there with the inbound. Probably resting their players ahead of the huge clash that they've got coming up tomorrow against Brazil.
Aggressive defense by Medel. They're pushing the ball handler toward the sideline, so he had to call timeout.
So you can see Netherlands 3-2, Canada 3-2, so each team having taken 1 timeout. Zach Medel, number 33. Dave, you've played against him. What's it like being on the same court as him?
And it's like being in a small car with a tank coming at you. There's nothing you can do. You just try and get out of the way. He's as soon as you think you had him beat, he's back in front of you and he's knocking you around. So, yeah, he's fun to watch and he's fun to play against, but it's a big challenge trying to contain him.
And when you play against him, you end up watching him as well because he goes flying past you. And yes, tough there for Van den Dop. He was hemmed in and ended up throwing out a very loose pass.
Kovac spinning as he gets hit from behind trying to catch that pass. Ended up crossing the line, and you cannot cross the active goal line if you don't have the ball. It doesn't matter what team you're on, it's a penalty. Although this time, instead of going in the box, it's turnover because it was the team that had the ball that crossed that line. When I say active goal line, it's the goal line of the team in possession of the ball. So the other one is just a out of bounds line, so you can cross it without penalty.
Coach's timeout has been taken by Martin van Hinter. So you can see Netherlands down to 3 and then 1 on their timeouts, because it's been a bit of a loose start, only 49 seconds into this second period, and they find themselves having conceded 3 points already with an awkward sideline inbound, a corner inbound. And they need to get the ball over the halfway line. And that was not what they managed to do. So 12 seconds elapsing and the Dutch not getting the ball into the front court.
It's like Dagenet has a wheel issue, or oh, they're taping up his hand.
Now, talking about the wheels, yesterday, Dave, you and I were watching the Netherlands in action against New Zealand, and you commented on how good their wheels and their chairs were looking. And I was forgetting the fact that their captain, Reda Houam, he seems to be a non-playing captain at the moment. He's on the sidelines. He is actually their chair supplier, their equipment supplier, and he was telling me that they have an absolutely wonderful mechanic who has got everything looking absolutely spick and span. He's got a lot of new parts sent down here to be able to work on the chairs while the tournament is going on. He was, Reda was also telling me that in the Netherlands they're not allowed to use any glue on their chairs at all, so it means that their chairs look incredibly clean. There's no there's no grease, gunk, whatever coming out of the chairs.
Well, that pine tar that they put on their hands, the low point players put it on their hands to give them some grip on those wheels because they can't grab it. And it gets all over everything. If you notice the front of a chair like Zach Medell's chair will have that black on there. He doesn't use it, but it gets off the low point chairs onto his chair, and it actually creates friction. So the fact that their chairs are cleaned up of that gunk means that they'll slip through a little better because they don't have the extra friction of that tacky glue on the front of their chair. I've used quite a bit of carburetor cleaner on the front end of my chair to get that stuff off. It is not easy.
Well, apparently it's banned in gymnasiums in the Netherlands, in halls, and also the fact that their tires as well, leaving black marks on the floors of gymnasiums. They get in trouble for that, so they're looking for their tire supplier hopefully to give them orange tracks, which would be great for the Oranje.
It's pretty common that tournaments will ask not to use the stickum, but we've also gotten pretty good at cleaning it. There's a chemical that someone found in the Seattle area that cleans it up pretty well and doesn't leave the floor greasy like a Guggen would. And you still have to scrub it with tennis balls on the end of sticks to clean up the mess afterward. If you notice the floor of this court, there are a lot of black marks on it, and it takes quite a while to clean up if you don't have a professional device to do so.
It's Canada who are cleaning up at the moment. We had a turnover and Zach Medell picking up a loose ball earlier on. The Dutch now setting themselves up. It was 9-13 at the quarter. It is now 9-19, so a 6-0 run that finally comes to an end there, courtesy of Davy van den Dop. Medell, clean pair of wheels and a great block there by Rio Kovac.
He did a nice job of following his pick out of there. I thought for sure he was trapped.
Van den Dop circling around.
Well executed play. Van der Laan got underneath, just waited for his opportunity.
Medell works his way through.
You think you're in front of him enough to stop him, and then he just bashes through.
Scott van Polen, a 0.5 player, with the inbound there to Van der Laar, and the ball has bobbled loose, and it's going to be another turnover, but it gives the Dutch a chance to get more players out there. Ressel Karabalut is their 3.5 pointer. He's been classified up when he played at the Euros in May of last year. He was 3.0, and now he's up to 3.5, and classification is an ongoing thing in this sport.
It certainly is, and you know, it's a challenge when your classification keeps changing, because not only if you've been classified the same for a period of time, they'll call you permanent, meaning that it's not that you can't be reclassed, but they're not compelled to reclass you. But if your class changes, then they have to start that whole process over again. And it's frustrating when you come to a tournament like this and you have lines set up, and that guy now can't play in the lines that he plays.
Yes, you're allowed 8 points on the court at any one time unless you have a female player, which allows you an extra 0.5. Neither of these squads have any women in them. So 8 is the maximum they can have. Yes, so if you always want to use the full 8, And if all of a sudden that means that you're having to go down from a 2.0 to a 1.5 playing alongside you, then it certainly makes life a lot more difficult when you've been used to training alongside certain people for certain lines. Karabalut getting on the board. And Canada now running a much different lineup. Kovac staying on, but we've had plenty of changes elsewhere.
Matt Debley is out there, number 31.
Anthony Letourneau.
That's Green, I think, is number 7.
And indeed, Byron Green. Karabalut showing all the function that he has.
It's interesting with the speed and the intensity of the games at this level, the amount of patience that they're also able to have.
An awkward corner inbound for the Dutch, but they're 4-on-3 here. You can see that Kovac is in the bin, and Van Polen is keeping an eye on him and making sure that he can't come out, unless, of course, he holds his arm up and says, "Let me be the inbounder." And what a great inbound that was.
Letourneau.
Letourneau, a 2-pointer. He wasn't going to have the speed to get over the line with the likes of Karabalut alongside him.
His teammate, Matt Debley, number 31, told him that he had a flat, or he heard he had a flat and was calling equipment. That's why he turned back, so he had an opportunity to get his wheel fixed. Because when the play stops advancing toward the try line, or if the player is in a situation where they're in danger, they'll stop the play for that. But if the play is continuing to advance, they'll just leave a guy that's got an equipment problem on the side until that changes. You can be flipped over and they won't call it unless the play stops advancing toward the try line.
We'll flip you back up as soon as we've scored a try. And don't worry, we won't forget about you. Let's just get the point on the board. Good key defense again from the Dutch.
Letourneau has to come out so he doesn't get 10 in the key. As an offensive player, you can only be inside that white box for 10 seconds before you need to come out.
And on defense, you can only have 3 in there at any one time.
He had the corner sealed up, but he knew he was running out of time, so he had to come back out.
Kovac takes his time and then cruises in. Awkward moves there from Faloni, who's come out for the Netherlands, the number 10. And then gave Karabalut a little too much to do.
Pass was a little behind his back. It's harder to catch.
So Faloni has come on for Van den Dop, a 3-pointer for a 3-pointer. And Hugo van Iersel is on as well. So the Dutch very much going through their entire squad. The only person we haven't seen yet, I think, is Reda Houwam, the captain. So both teams very much running through their their entire squads as Matt Debley goes over. Matt, a teammate of yours?
Yes, we both play for University of Michigan Adaptive Sports and Fitness. We are, in fact, the day after I get home from New Zealand, I have to go to Las Vegas to play in the semifinals.
You poor thing.
I'm going to be wiped out.
You will be.
We get home we land at 11:30 at night, and I don't know what time my flight is the next day, but it's going to be a long one. Totally worth it to be here.
The things
though.
we do for this sport. Yes.
I love to play, and I love to be here to watch and to commentate. And heck, we're spending 3 weeks in New Zealand. I can't complain. Here with my wife Chelsea and my son Elliot. Elliot, who loves to play rugby, but he's 9 years old, and he doesn't use a wheelchair, so he's very disappointed that he can't play.
Kovac with another try. It's 14 points to 6 in this quarter in favour of the Canadians, as the Dutch have been going through their lineup deep into the squad, and Karabulut makes sure he doesn't take the ball behind his own try line, and he's asked a lot there of his fellow high pointer Timothy Falorni, but Falorni answered the question. Letourneau fires it forward, and Debley finishes it off.
Little touch pass. Knowing where your teammate is makes that happen. You got to know where your teammates are, know where you expect them, and keep your head up.
If this is a second line in inverted commas for Canada, then it's a pretty good one, isn't it?
It certainly is. Well, they've got a lot of depth, and that, I don't care what kind of shape you're in. You play this whole game without any substitution, and you play for 5 days, it'll take it out of you.
Canada strength in depth and showing that at the moment. Debley going this way and that. And now taking his time, because there are just 30 seconds left in this second quarter, so 30 seconds left in the first half.
Shot clock's at 16.
So we were saying earlier, even if you are 12 points clear, then it's always good to work on these time stamps, work on your set moves.
You don't get many real game situations to do these things. You can work on them in practice all you want, but until you got to do it in a game.
Dutch bench counting down for their team, and that was fired forward and bounces off the back of Matt Debley's head. 3.2 seconds to go. Bit of a Hail Mary pass that bounces, bobbles around.
That's another pass, though. You want to take that shot because you don't get very many opportunities to do that against an opponent. And it was a great try. He almost got it.
Great effort there from Van Iersel with the bunted inbound. Letourneau with the inbound here, and they're just going to put this one in their laps. And Canada it is who lead 29 points to 16 over the Netherlands at the big break. Here we are back at the New Zealand campus of innovation and sport, the NZCIS. It's day 2 of the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament, and it's the final match of the day. And at half-time, Canada lead the Netherlands 29 points to 16. This is Group B action. It also features New Zealand, but New Zealand, the hosts, with 2 defeats already, so their chances of making the semi-finals have been extinguished unless there is an absolutely huge comeback here from the Netherlands, and then a lot of very strange results. Can't quite see that happening. We're underway now in the second period. Timothy Falorni there, getting the first point on the board for the Netherlands, and Zach Medell is back out for Canada. Canada very much expected to top this group, and with someone like Zach Medell in your squad, you're always going to be one of the favourites for the tournament.
Great low point play too on the Canadian team. A lot of experience in very big games and big tournaments. Dagenet and Hirschfield, who are out there, both have quite a bit of experience.
Low pointers and co-captains.
And Ewert now number 30. This is his first action today. Says this is his first international tournament. He played well yesterday.
Joel Ewert, the number 30. A 2.5 pointer. So 3.5 Medell, 2.5 Ewert, and then a couple of 1-pointers, Hirschfield and Dagenet. And that makes it 8 points. Davy van den Dop for the Dutch, getting the ball from Hugo van Iersel. He's going to have to launch a big one or call a timeout.
Probably the better decision of the two.
So timeout called. Netherlands 18-31 down. As you can see, the little numbers to the right of the scores just gone down from 3-1 to 2-1 for the Netherlands as they've taken a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, those top numbers, you get 4 of those 30-second timeouts, but the bottom number is the coach's timeout. You'll only get 2 of those per game.
Reda Houwam, the captain of the Dutch, has come on, the number 6. Captain and equipment supplier.
He's also come back from a battle with cancer.
He has indeed. He has
which
indeed.
is amazing, and of course, I'm really happy for him.
Almost a steal there from Ewert. Got the ball loose, but it was adjudged to have come off him last, so the Dutch are going to maintain possession. Many strings to his bow, Reda Houwam. He's also a good commentator.
I have not heard him yet.
He commentated at the Euros last May and gave me many a good insight. Medell spinning this way and that.
From what I understand, he puts on a great tournament too.
Other than that, he's not very talented.
I'm sure he has other things going on as well. There are so many athletes that you know, this being their passion, they still have careers and families, or they're, you know, getting a master's degree. To play at this level is already so hard, to constantly be working out and eating right, and, you know, being on a schedule that allows you to do this and still have a life outside of rugby.
Zach Medell, though, he is a gun for hire around the world. Played for many different teams in many championships.
I know he's played in the U.S., he's played in Japan,
played
in Australia. Well, and I know that Canada is keen on their players playing other places when they can. Many of the Canadian players play in the U.S. League, gets them more games, gets them high-level competition.
Different opponents rather than seeing the same
Sure.
people in and out and getting into habits.
Well, and the league is smaller in Canada, so they have less opportunities to play than it is in the U.S. anyway. We pretty much have a tournament every weekend at various levels.
Pick off there by Ewart. Hands it off to Medell. And Medell just launches an absolutely perfect pass and says, here you go, skipper.
Yeah, with not too much forward spin so that there's plenty of time for Hirschfield to get underneath it.
Medell played in the Australian Championship 2 years ago. Guested for Queensland. Last year it was Stu Robinson, the 3.5 pointer from Team GB, who went down and played for Victoria. And this year, Perth, the Western Australia team, is going to have Jonathan Hivernat, the French captain, a three-pointer. I'm going to say arguably one of the best. Well, he's definitely one of the best three-pointers in the world.
Absolutely.
Probably between him and your teammate Chuck Aoki to say who's the best three-pointer in the world.
And Chuck and I and Matt lost in the championship last year to his teammate.
Sebastian
Verdun.
Verdun.
Yes, Verdun.
There we go. They're speaking of another good three-pointer.
Yep. Oh, such a great game too. Disappointing to come out on the sad end of it, but it was an amazing final. Right down to the wire.
This one not quite down to the wire. Canada leading 36-20. Nice score there, though, for Timothy Falorni, getting himself into the key, ready to receive the pass. Hirschfield out to Ewart with the inbound. Ewart now looking to get it over the halfway line within the 12 seconds. Does so, a quick bounce, because you have to do that every 10 seconds. And he goes coast to coast. A little apology there from Van Iersel. Not meant to make contact when the ball is dead.
Yeah, they're not calling contact before the whistle at all.
There have been 1 or 2 in the New Zealand games. Cameron Leslie's picked up a couple, as is his wont.
We abolished that rule. We got rid of it in the United States. I think it's been a good thing. At this level, I think it might make the game a little faster, if you can believe that. I mean, it's already way faster than the level I play at anyway. But you can see it's not being called. So that's interesting. I'll have to find out if there's something behind that or if it's just out of fashion.
So you're all for a bit of unnecessary contact and a bit of roughing.
At first I was against it. I thought that it was going to let the low pointers get in and just tie me up. But I found that there are advantages and disadvantages both for them and for me. And I think the game is more interesting because we're allowed to make that contact and get in there and use that contact to gain position. When before you just had, if somebody got there before you, You just had to work your way around him until that whistle came around. But if a guy's in my space and I just want to get there, I can just bash him and hopefully take it over. Or turn his chair while he's going somewhere. Get him out of my way.
Kovac looking to make some space. And in the end, it's Whitehead who goes over. Whitehead who has come on for Medell. We've got the double goggles line up now of Letourneau and Kovac.
Letourneau putting his hand up there is indicating that he wants to be the inbounder so that the referee won't put the ball down. We'll wait for him.
Van der Laan sitting in the bin. And he will be there until Canada score. And now out he comes. It's Van Iersel actually who's going to take the inbound. Hands it off to Karabulut, the high pointer. And a great fist in there from Whitehead, and that's a wonderful turnover. And then Kovac shows a clean pair of wheels. Turning defense into attack, a great interception there by Whitehead.
Yeah, nice for him that that didn't go out of bounds. They were able to play it.
Karabulut doing his level best, but a little too much there for Van Iersel.
Just out of reach.
Tough for a one-pointer to be able to lean forward, won't have the trunk function to
and reach up, right? When you reach up, you're going to fall forward. And the low pointers tend to wear a belt across their chest to help hold them up and to help them get back upright. And, but still, it's hard to reach up above your torso when you don't have the trunk muscles to hold you up there.
Kovac giving a good account of himself at the moment. Karabulut boxed in, but gets the ball away over the top. Big hit on Van der Laan. Well done that time by Van Iersel. Hands it off to Van der Laan. 15 seconds to go on the shot clock. And
something's on the floor. He wants an equipment call. He was pointing it out, saying, hey, do something.
Which is good because it gives them time to reset.
Yeah, they were all piled up on the one side and they were trying to spread out, but they were doing it slowly.
So the shot clock is reset. They're 18 points adrift, the Dutch, but they're still going to be looking to run their plays, score their points.
Yeah, they want to play good rugby. They want to execute their plays so that they're ready for tomorrow. Big match with Brazil.
Number 6, their captain in there, whom we mentioned earlier, Reda Hawam. Talking to him when he was commentating with me last year, he said one of the things you need to do, even if you don't think you can win, is, well, win your development. Make sure you are making progress whatever happens. Now, looks like a bit of contact's been made on Van der Laan. And we got a stray poke in the eye.
It happens, and it's not always seen by the referee. He may have to go off.
If he goes off, that means that line changes are going to have to occur. They don't have another 2.5 pointer, so They'll either have to play a little
They
bit
brought
short.
in Vandelar.
It's the nearest they can do for a like. He's a 2-pointer. In the meantime, maybe Litorno or Kovac can lend Van der Laan a pair of their glasses. And that'll be shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted. Van Iersel with the inbound. Good inbound it was to Karabulut. Kovac really, he's up for the fight in this third quarter. Over the top to Van der Laan. Van der Laan coming in a little bit cold. Wasn't expected to see action as quickly as he has done. Back out comes Hector Loma. There he is. Big grin on his face as always.
Yeah, you can see he loves this sport. He's in it to the very end with a smile on his face.
An excellent game against New Zealand in the opening group match. He's one of the standout players for the Dutch. Ben Bazoun has come back out as well, number 7. Karabulut staying out there, and Van der Laan. Great work by Kovac to get back there.
You know, it's interesting to me. I know that Whitehead went to 24-inch wheels because most of rugby is short sprints, very short. And you can get from one place to another a lot faster. But it does take away from your top speed some. And I'm wondering if that might be the difference where he got beat there by Karabulut. Because I've thought about going to 24s myself in order to get my start to stop quicker and my acceleration to top speed. Even though my top speed already isn't good, it wouldn't be lower. I feel like that side-to-side stuff is where you can really win.
How much bigger are the regular wheels?
25 inches.
Okay,
so
right.
It's
So,
an inch,
okay.
half an inch on each side. Or it's the diameter, so.
Yeah.
I think it's, the tubes are 559 millimeters.
15.4 seconds to go. Canada looking to make it a 20-point lead in this contest. Over the top, and Kovac is indeed going to make it a 20-point lead with 4.7 seconds to go. He's had a very good third quarter. Canada have had a very good third quarter. And that brings an end to that third quarter with Canada leading the Netherlands 44-24. Back for the fourth and final quarter of this final match of day 2 at the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament just outside Wellington in New Zealand. And it's Canada with a 20-point lead over the Netherlands. And what is more, they have possession and they convert that into a score to make it 45-24. Matt Debley back on for them.
I like the orange jerseys. It's a nice different color. You know, you see a lot of the same colors in this sport.
You can't have the Dutch playing in anything other than oranje, as it is known. Inbound from Travis Moran, who's come back on for Canada. Patrice Dagenet back out there as well.
Yeah, so they can play Dagenet, who's a 1, with Debley because he's a 3. Where if Medel was in this line, they would need a 0.5 opposite him to run the 2s.
Which is what they did to begin with Eric Rodrigue.
So Caldwell got pushed across there. He's going backward, got caught going backward and got punched across. Vandelaar did that.
Great wheels and pick up there by Debley.
Now, I don't like that play. I don't know why you swipe at that and knock it out of bounds. You're basically just giving them the opportunity to get out of trouble. Because Debley was stuck there. He was having trouble getting into a position where he could pass. He couldn't move. And you just gave him an out. I guess maybe you're giving your defense an opportunity to come back into the play, but it's a decision.
Canada 20 points up. As you can see from the scoreboard, both teams have 2 30-second timeouts that the players can take from the floor and 1 coach's timeouts. Caldwell loses the ball there. Picked up by Ben Bazoun, hands it off to Rizal Karabulut,
who's quick on his own. Debley got behind him, though. He might hit that cone. Oh!
And Hector Loma coming in there, and
again, Caldwell getting knocked across the line. He's going to hear about that when he gets back to the bench.
Look at that. Loma came in for from about 50 yards away. Took a good run at him. And I'm sure he did it with a smile on his face.
Oh, I'm sure.
So there's Caldwell in the bin. Loma with the inbounds. Gives it off to Van der Laar. The Dutch 4 on 3 at the moment. Or if you prefer, 8 on 6. 8 points against 6 points, because 2 points are on the sidelines for Canada. And those 2 points return. Ten seconds in which to inbound. Well, all of a sudden, it looked as if they were boxed in, and then 5 seconds later, Moran goes over the try line. Karabulut needs to get it over the halfway line within 12 seconds. Bounces. There's a timeout called just in time there, because he wasn't going to get the ball over the halfway line within those 12 seconds.
No, and even though the shot clock doesn't tell when those 12 expired, 12 have gone off the shot clock. So if it wasn't called soon, it was going to be called soon.
Gives Martin, as it were, yes, obviously, yes. Martin van Hinter has a quick 30 seconds to have a word with his troops. Van der Laar, Bazoun, Karabulut and Loma out there for the Dutch. Loma it is with the inbound. Van der Laar can't find a way through there. Excellent blocking from Caldwell and from Mouraun.
I think he'll be watching his back this time.
The ball goes loose. The Dutch maintain possession, but they've only got 8 seconds, as you can see from the shot clock to the left of your screen, and you can hear the countdown.
He's got 2 players in there in the middle, but nobody who can push across.
Was the timeout taken in time? The referee saying that it was. So they're going to reset the shot clock to 15. Another timeout taken, the last one taken from the floor as far as the Dutch are concerned. And Loma's going to have another go from the corner to inbound. Always a tough inbound. Karabulut, what can he do in the next 13 seconds? You'll hear the countdown start again from the Dutch entourage.
Again, they're all off to that one side. Worked for him.
Space made, channel opened up for Karabulut. Mouraun hands off to Caldwell. Needs to get the ball over the halfway line. Back to Mouraun. And he's got support coming into the key from Dagenet. And Pico it is who gets over the line. Made his international debut in 2011, did Dagenet. Plays for the Ottawa Stingers.
Yeah, being from Detroit, I've played against most of these guys plenty of times. And I've had the opportunity to train with them, some of them in London too, in London, Ontario, which is great. You know, you get a bunch of Paralympians at your practice, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. And people would say, well, why aren't you better, Dave? I can't answer that question.
Those that can, do. Those that can't,
Commentate.
coach. And those that can't even do that, commentate.
Right.
So you've got 1 and 3. You've got gold and bronze there.
We'll
you
see.
can and you talk about it. I'm on the lowest step of the podium there, but it's a good podium to be on. Gold, silver, bronze, and whoever gets gold, silver and bronze at this tournament will qualify for the Paris Paralympics to be held at the end of August and the start of September this year.
And that's the real reason we're here. This tournament is all about qualifying. That's why they call it the Paralympic qualifier, right?
5 teams already got through, as we've mentioned earlier. Japan, USA, France, Great Britain and Denmark, and 3 more looking to join them. Canada managing to pick up the loose ball, and they will go again. Good patience there from the Canadians. No panic. They had a lot of time on their hands. Van der Laar ended up being blocked there by Van Iersel. But they managed to get themselves loose. Now we have Van den Dop, who's come back on in place of Karabulut.
It's hard to get mad when your low pointers get in your way because they do so much for you. You know, they're so helpful. Getting those picks.
Brown having to go all the way around the back. Gets the ball over the halfway line and then way over the top. And that's a lovely pass to Cody Caldwell. Speaking of London, where you've played, the other side of the Windsor Tunnel from Detroit, Caldwell, who plays for the London Annihilators.
Played against them many times. Matt Debley plays for them as well. Travis Morrow. A bunch of those guys have played with London. In fact, as Matt was coming up, we played against London's B squad many times in some great matchups. Overtime games, 1-point games. Yeah, a lot of fun. And then once in a while, they'll put together a scrimmage and we'll go play against them. A D1 game and then a D2 game, so everybody gets an opportunity. But some great competitive, fun games with no consequences, you know. Great training. But referees and clock and the whole thing, so it's very realistic. And bragging rights.
Having spent a fair bit of time in Ontario myself, I know that London, they like a celebratory beer or two after a match, so I'm sure that would all have been part and parcel of it.
Yes, sir.
Into the final 3 minutes of this contest.
Garrett Hickling on the sideline there with Team Canada. He was the MVP of the World Championships 3 times, and he's the first person inducted in the World Wheelchair Rugby Hall of Fame. Great player, great guy. He's also with London.
Van den Dop going this way and that and pops a lovely pass over. And in the end,
wow, nice job.
Van Eersel couldn't get it over the line, so pops it over to Hector Loma, who crosses the line.
Kind of over his back. I mean, he knew he was there, but couldn't see him as well as he would have liked to.
That's Debley going the long way round and feeds Ewart, the debutant at this tournament. Van den Dop taking care of business. Puts the ball down on the floor as well, away from the referee to give himself and his teammates a little bit of time to set up.
Though he'd never admit to it.
Letourneau trying to get it over the halfway line in time, does so. Finds Debley. Great hands there. Ewart now with the ball, but stuck in the corner. Countdown, and how about that? Beautifully popped over the top just before Debley was going to cross the line with his wheels.
Yeah, you're going to measure that in centimeters.
Into the last 90 seconds of this final match of day 2. Van der Laar going over for the Netherlands. They've been matching Canada point for point in this 4th quarter. Both teams, though, going deep onto their benches.
Down goes Debley.
Loma comes over to say, sorry about that, unintentional, and Debley's having absolutely none of it. Loma sees the funny side of everything. Byron Green, who's come on, he seems to see the funny side of it as well. Green goes back to take care of Loma to make sure that he can't get out of the sin bin without calling for the inbound. Devley showing patience. Green comes up to help. And a loose pass. So Loma will stay in the bin because it's 1 minute or until your opponents score. So the Dutch with the inbound now, but 3 on 4. Huge pass bunted forward. Van der Laar is going to get to it and score 3 on 4. So that is winning your development.
Absolutely.
Loma still sitting in the bench, but he'll have a smile on his face, no doubt, because he's seen his teammates score 3 on 4. A little bit of frustration on the Canada bench at conceding. If they don't watch it, then Loma will have come out having served his minute. Not often you see that, particularly not in a team that is 19 points adrift.
Well, it looks like they're purposely winding the clock down some.
Maybe going to
they're
use
okay
their
with him
final
sitting
timeout.
there. Yeah.
Here comes that timeout with 16.1 seconds to go. Out comes Hector Loma. How about that? Not often you see a penalty and someone staying in the bin for the entire minute.
No.
But these are special circumstances. Canada 19 points clear and about to secure their semi-final berth and top spot in Group B. And over the top they go. Ewart gets another try in this, his debut tournament. A Hail Mary pass is bunted forward.
Untouched,
And
so it will come back.
Yes, so it was untouched, so the clock didn't have a chance to start.
So if that had touched a player, it would have been inbounded from where it went out of bounds. But because it didn't touch anyone, they bring it all the way back here to where it was inbounded originally.
Canada keep it in their hands. Debley keeps it in his hands, and Canada have their fate in their hands. They have won Group B. They've defeated the Netherlands 55-35. That means they sit atop Group B. Cannot be overtaken unless, of course, they suffer an absolutely huge defeat against New Zealand in their final group match. Netherlands have won one, Brazil have won one, and Netherlands and Brazil will face off tomorrow, Friday, the second match. That match on at 12:30 local time, and it's a quarter-final in all but name. Whoever wins that one will go through to the semi-finals, so that'll be a huge one there. But Canada, they went all the way through that deep squad of theirs and showed just how much strength and depth they've got.
Yeah, and so they've earned their trip for a medal, pretty much. And obviously that's what the Netherlands is hoping to do too. If you don't, like you said, if you don't make that top 4, you don't get to play for a medal. You play for a 5th or below.
So these are the matches that we are going to have tomorrow. Colombia versus Switzerland to see who comes 3rd and 4th in Group A. Brazil versus the Netherlands. There's that big shootout. New Zealand versus Canada. New Zealand playing for pride. And then Australia versus Germany. Australia, again, certain of making it through to the semi-finals. Germany also more or less through, unless there are some very, very strange results. So those are the matches that we have on Friday. The final group matches in Groups A and B.
So we've got some fans here from the Netherlands.
All of them wearing orange. And if they're not wearing orange, then they're waving orange. Oranje boven, up with the oranges, is the Dutch slogan. And they came out not on top today. But they certainly won their development, as they like to say.
Yeah,
and
they put up a good fight early on, and I think they should be proud of how they performed so far. This.
(55-35) for Canada, following on from Canada's 57-39 win over Brazil. I don't think we can read too much into the slight differences in scores there. But Canada winning both of their matches. And we're now going to be able to go down to our colleague Greg Mitchell, who has got my fellow commentator's colleague Matt Debley with him.
Matt, job done. 2 games, 2 in a row, 2 wins. Can't ask for anything more than that.
Absolutely. You know, we're feeling good, we're playing well, and things are coming together.
Nice. There's a lot of trunk players in that other team. How do you find playing against so many players with trunk out there?
Well, it's difficult. You know, they close a lot of space very quickly, and we have to be very smart, keep our space, work hard. My job's to draw as many of them on me as I can and then get rid of the ball. So.
You went real well out there, man. I'd wish you all the best for a game against New Zealand, but that's my team, so I'll just have to say we'll see you out there tomorrow.
Absolutely. You'll see us then.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Greg Mitchell, who is a former coach of the Wheel Blacks and assistant coach. He's now a mechanic and he's commentating with us, so thank you for that, Greg. And as he mentioned, yes, it'll be Canada versus New Zealand tomorrow. That is it as far as day 2 is concerned, a day when semi-final berths were confirmed for Germany, for Australia and also for Canada, and we set up a big shootout between Brazil and Netherlands for the 4th and final spot. Thank you for following all the action today, and please join us from 10 o'clock local time tomorrow for the final group matches.